I am alive and it's good to be alive, and today we are checking out Atlas. And I know what you're thinking, Fisto, oh my gosh, Atlas has been out forever. It's taken you forever to come out with this review. And you're absolutely right. The reason for that being, I'm not ashamed to admit this either, is I don't really care much for Atlas. I'm not crazy into him, but given that I have been playing this game for 3 years, I do think that I have a little bit of knowledge in Warframe naturally, hence my channel, and also I like mastering everything in the game. Even if I'm not absolutely crazy about something, I still like taking it and trying to make it the best I can and just seeing what it's capable of and trying to kick as much ass with it as I possibly can, and Atlas is no exception. But what I would like to say is there's a good chance that a lot of Atlas fans or buffs out there have better builds than me. I'm not afraid to admit that. So if you have an Atlas build that you think is totally beast and kicks ass and really is going to just about do it in any situation, feel free to drop that down below for my awesome viewers to try out. Hell, I might even try some of them out. But if you are here for my opinion on the frame, then stick around for the rest of the video. So I will show you my build on Atlas. I've got Rejuvenation, Prime Continuity, Narrow-Minded, Constitution, Vitality, Intensify, Transient Fortitude, and Steel Fiber. This is obviously not the best Atlas build. Heck, I've got 2 open mod slots here, but it gave me a good enough go at the frame to kind of understand how he was going to play out. So, the pros to Atlas. He's got exceptionally high armor. My Atlas has an armor rating of 900, which is pretty good. He's also got 740 health with a max vitality, which is not bad at all. In fact, you could actually get more than 900 armor if you have a max steel fiber in there. Now, keep in mind that the primary purpose of this build was really just to play off of his rumblers, which is his ultimate, which I'll show you here in a sec. That was the main focus of this build, because to be honest, that was the power that I was having the most fun with and found the most unique and interesting. So before we get into my personal opinions of Atlas, let's check out his powers here. So his passive ability is that he is immune to knockdown effects while he is touching the ground. That is actually really nice. This means you can run around with a melee weapon on an infestation mission, and you can just smack Moa's buttholes all day long. You can tongue flick them, whatever you want to do. You're totally going to get away with it too, because they will not be able to knock you down. So that's actually really nice. You also have Landslide. Landslide is Atlas's first power, which is basically this melee punch that you kind of fly at the enemy and punch him and ragdoll him. This is a really fun power. It's very strong as well. Not only does it deal decent damage with moderate power strength, but I believe it also takes whatever mods you have equipped on your melee weapon. So you can easily make this a very devastating attack, and it's his cheapest power too, aside from Petrify, but that's an energy drain per second, so we'll get into that in a sec. But yes, this is a high damage dealing attack. It's really cool. It's very effective. I just personally don't have a lot of draw to it because, I don't know, I'm not in too many situations with Atlas where the melee weapon I have isn't enough to kill something. So I'm never taking Atlas into, like, 300 plus or 150 plus leveled enemy missions. So I really just, this is not a power that I need. It's kind of just like an alternate melee attack that does a lot of damage. And Tectonics, which is his second ability, creates a rock wall that has a health bar, and you can also recast it, and it will cause the rock wall to crumble up into a ball and then roll in the direction that you were aiming upon casting it a second time. This deals quite a bit of damage and also explodes at the very end, dealing radial damage, and a lot of it too, which is really nice. You can move through it, and I believe enemies can now move through it too to prevent you from trolling, but they cannot shoot through it, so it's pretty much a bullet shield, but it is really difficult to see through, so I do have that complaint right off the bat. And Petrify is basically better known as Ogre Stone Gaze. Basically, you get to petrify people with this beam of sort of like smoke and light that comes out of your face. Really cool power. Crowd controls, it locks enemies down, and it freezes them entirely, which is pretty cool. It's a great method for locking down enemies. And my sole complaint with this one really is that you can't do anything while using this power. So it's great, but you can't, you're pretty much stuck in it. You can move around though, at least, so that much is kind of nice. And last but not least, obviously you have the Rumblers, which I think is his coolest power. You basically summon 2 giant rock monsters to fight with you, and not only the effectiveness of this power is why I like it, but my main draw-in for this power is the fact that it's just super entertaining. I love watching these guys run around, and they will literally bitch slap and backhand people and just ragdoll them, throw them into walls and stuff. They'll also throw rocks at people, and seriously, just the enemies ragdoll so hard when they get hit by these guys. I remember the first time I tried it, I laughed my ass off. Alright, so now that I've explained Atlas, let me explain why I don't like him. Do I think he's a bad Warframe? No, not at all, and that's part of the reason I hardly ever play with him, which I'll get into here in a sec. But again, his landslide is just, it's another form of melee combat, but it's very short-ranged, and I personally, this is just me, I don't use Atlas for any high-level missions, so it's really not a power I need. I don't really need the benefit of the massive melee damage that it produces. And then for his second ability, Tectonics, it's really cool. I want to like it. The augment mod for this ability actually allows you to cast 2 rock walls, and I feel like that should just come passively, to be honest. My issue being that it's a pretty small barrier. It's not even enough to lock down a hallway, which is probably intentional, but I mean, it's kind of weird. It's a very small amount of cover, so if you're using Atlas in a survival or really a defense mission, you're only going to be able to provide a certain amount of cover for the crowd pod unless you have that augment mod. On top of that, I just find it kind of a nuisance to deploy a cover and only to send it out at enemies as a weapon. I don't know. It's both a defense and offensive capability, but not at the same time. So I don't enjoy it too much. I feel like if I wanted that defensive capability, I would just pick Frost or somebody that does it way better. And Petrify. Petrify is actually really fun, and it's pretty cool being able to turn enemies into stone. But again, this just falls under the category of there are plenty of other crowd-controlling frames out there. And Atlas just falls into this weird place for me. I don't really know what role to classify him as. I think he doesn't really just fit into one specific category. He's kind of an interesting and weird tool set that just with my particular playstyle, I'm not really sure what to do with, to be honest. I've never found a situation where I'm like, oh my god, Atlas is the best suited frame for this. So Petrify is cool, but if you want to slow people or stop them, there's always Frost, there's Nova, there's Harrow. You can chain people, which is very directed, has a lot of range, at least with my build, and super reliable. And it freezes them instantly. Depending on how you do your Petrify build, you're going to have to focus your gaze on them for quite a while to be able to freeze them solid. And last but not least, the Rumblers are immensely cool, but while they are fun, it's kind of interesting because yes, he can summon ads to help him fight, and they're pretty good at fighting, but I feel like if you want a frame that summoned ads, you'd just be better off having Necros. It's really weird. This is sort of a lesser version of a power a frame already has. Now, you can get his Rumblers to last a really long time. I've got mine at 107 seconds for the power duration, which is really nice. But again, sometimes I find more often than not, given that they don't have guns, they'll try to melee enemies and they'll just completely miss. Plus the fact that there's only 2 of them, they get around really slowly. At least I know mine do. They do have the added effect of being able to, distract enemies, which is kind of nice, but I find this power very limited because this is a power that suffers greatly if you're playing either in the Void or against Corpus or corrupted enemies, because let's be honest, these Rumblers run around, you have no control over them, they're kind of dunces, and if there's a nullifier bubble, they walk into the nullifier bubble and boom, they're instantly dead. Now the good news about that is they do explode and deal a lot of damage, but that kind of sucks, because most of the time I'm, as a Mastery, 23, or no, I'm not a Mastery 23, 21 player, most of the stuff I'm going to be doing is opening relics, getting new prime items, just going and doing like Void Survival or something, and that kind of just makes his Rumblers pretty pointless. Once the nullifiers start coming out in droves, there's just tons of them, I really can't find that power any fun. Yes, I do have Neutralizing Justice on my miter, so I can pop those pesky nullifier bubbles, but again, the Rumblers run around kind of unexpectedly. They might be kind of far away from me at a moment, and then, I can't pop the nullifier in time, and then I have to keep recasting this ultimate and most expensive ability. So yeah, Atlas just falls into kind of a weird place for me. I don't at all think that he is a terrible frame. I'm sure people can utilize him to be great, but here's what you guys have to understand. I pretty much have 3 qualifications or mindsets when I'm deciding what Warframe to pick. A, I'm picking a Warframe because it's just so much fun to play as, and I think they're super cool, and it doesn't matter if they're the right tool for the job. I just have a ton of fun while playing as them. Their mechanics or their powers are just visually or cosmetically or functionally pleasing to me, and I just have so much fun playing as them. B, it's because they're the right tool for the job. So you're doing a defense mission. Maybe I'm not quite in the mood for Frost, but I think it would really benefit our team, so I'm going to pick a Frost. Frost is an excellent defensive frame. And then C, maybe I'm just really bored or just, feeling weird. I want to try something new. So I pick a frame that I almost never play as, but kind of thought was interesting, but they're not very good. And I just try some crazy weird build with them. Try to, I want to like them, so I try some crazy build, like Zephyr or something. I'll pick Zephyr. I'll try a cool new build with her, and she's cool, but it's like, still not my thing, but I'll give it a shot. And Atlas doesn't fit any of those categories because he's not a frame that I love. He's not a go-to for any specific job I have to do. And also, I don't think I don't think he's shit. I don't think he sucks. So he's also not that much fun for me to play around with. I already played around quite a bit with his rumblers because there is some fun things you can do there, like the power strength decides how big they are and how slow they move. And there's an augment mod that combines them into one. There's some fun stuff. There's definitely fun to be had there. I enjoyed my time playing with him and warming up to him and learning his mechanics and how he fits in the game. But again, just not a frame that I play as super often. So again, if you are a huge Atlas fan, please drop your builds down below so we can spread some knowledge and help my awesome subscribers. I want us to be kind of a community here, not just me, but I thought I'd give you guys my opinion on them anyways, see if you guys have fun with it or value it at all. Anyways, I hope this video was helpful, and I hope you all have a kick-ass day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out, everybody.